Today on Business Success in Six with Stacie, I have Allison McCoy-Fleshman here and Bobby Fleshman from McFleshman's Brewing Company and Public House in Appleton, Wisconsin. Thanks for jumping on with me, you two.
Hi, thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
It's my pleasure. Really looking forward to you sharing your public house and the history behind your business and how you got into business. So if it's okay, I'm going to ask you 6 questions.
Sounds good.
All right, here we go. When people ask you what McFleshman's Brewing Company and Public House does, how do you describe your business?
Go for it.
We like to say that we sell 2 things, beer and conversation. And I think we added a couple more today. We added bees and community.
Bees and community.
Yeah.
We have a rooftop apiary that we're trying to promote urban pollinators. And we work with a local pollinator group that really kind of enhances awareness of the importance of pollinators. And they have that. We also brew a beer for them. So we are a community cornerstone, I think, an actual public house with no TVs on the walls. People aren't staring at their phones when they're here. They're enjoying pints and making friends and keeping friendships afloat.
In that conversation, like you said, and so you have kind of an Irish and German theme, a little bit more Irish. I do know that the Irish like to talk a little, don't they?
They do. So we're standing in our tap room right now, and we actually have this very old, it's about 100-year-old stained glass back bar with both kind of an Irish feel, but also kind of a German motif. So just to make it warm and cozy while you're having after work.
It's so beautiful. So beautiful. So what were your plans when you started your business? How did you get into business, and how has business changed since you started?
Goodness. So we got into business. So we opened our doors in 2018. We bought our building in 2016. It was about 1.5 to 2 years of acquiring loans and going through a complete renovation. We gutted this entire building. It's in downtown Appleton. And the business was always to be a brewing company, but we really let it be informed by the community. And so as the business grew and folks started to kind of get word of what we were doing here, we really listened to what they said and what they liked, and we started to morph the business into what would meet the community need. And then when COVID hit, the business plan was still in full swing. We just really kind of rearranged timing on when we ended up doing our distribution much earlier than we thought. And so now you can get our beer all over the state.
Wow.
So that was
so we're small breweries everywhere. We're doing the same thing we were, scrambling to find means to package their beer into cans and bottles and get it on the store shelves. Mm-hmm. So it fast forwarded us 3 years.
Yeah. Wow. Well, it's great that you did that. And it obviously you're growing, so you're doing the right stuff. So you talked a little bit about listening to your community. My next question for you is, what is the biggest way that you impact the community?
That's a good question. I would say by creating a space. It's really a third space for people to gather. So our tap room and beer garden is a place where people can connect with community very locally. So just them with a few other individuals. We are also a place where the Appleton community can kind of have as a home base. We have many groups that'll have meetings here. But then we also, so within our business model, we actually don't accept tips. Like many other establishments, any tips that are left, we donate to charity. And so that's a way we can have a broader outreach with our community. Like right now, we are working with Saving Paws Animal Rescue. And rumor has it that pretty soon they're going to bring some puppies that can be adopted here. So you can pet puppies and drink beer at the same time. I am super excited. But then we also have kind of more of a global community. We really work hard and we vote with our dollar in our manufacturing process for sustainability. It's really hard to make craft beer sustainable and with low water usage and low energy usage. And so we're always thinking of ways to be more energy efficient as well as materials conscious to help kind of more the global community in fighting climate change.
Wow.
Yeah, so leader in terms of conscientious sustainability.
Yeah.
I think that might be a way to say it.
Absolutely. That's incredible. So many different ways you're impacting the world locally and globally. Thank you so much for doing that. Now, my next question for you is, what is one challenge that you have faced that other business owners can learn from? I know you shared that you had to switch and start doing more distribution 3 years early. Do you want to touch upon that a little bit more? Are there other challenges that you have faced that you'd want to share with us?
On a superficial level, selling these old styles of beer that we cater to focus on. Oh yeah. So like we do a lot of these English ales that you'll only see in London and all over the UK. And it's a tough market here in Wisconsin to expect a restaurant or a bar to start installing this kind of equipment, installing and serving this kind of beer. But I mean, that's on the superficial level.
Yeah. And I think the in terms of like the challenges that other businesses can learn from, or things that we've learned, that communication is key. I mean, I think that's it. It's inappropriate for me to think that other businesses aren't realizing this too. But it's definitely something that we continue to learn, not only listening to what our patrons want, but also working at ways to help communication within our own staff. We have 12 people on staff, and we all have this vision of moving towards, helping McFleshman's succeed. But if we're not telling each other what we're doing, then there might be inefficiencies, or we might not necessarily know that, oh, you've got this great idea. Oh, you didn't tell this person. Oh, no, that idea could really help us out. And so it's really fostering a means of communicating on many different levels.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing that. Tell me a little bit more about how you communicate with the staff. Are you writing things on paper? And then same thing with your community. How when you have great events like what you're doing with the puppies coming in, tell me how you communicate those different ways.
So we have a social media presence, and so that's how we communicate with the outside world. But then internally, Bobby's former work at NASA helped him. He's really a computer programmer. And so he's built all of these, the most intricate spreadsheets, that if someone takes a keg for one restaurant, it goes into this portal, and then that communicates to everywhere else, like, okay, now that beer is no longer available. And so it's a quick means, because everyone has their phone out, so they can quickly see, like, oh, okay, well, where is this beer? Where is that beer? And so
I think on this scale, it is a challenge to manage your supply chain, upstream and downstream. And it's taken us, to be honest, 5 years to get there, to the place where we are now. And that's as much as the secret of our success as the liquid itself, I think.
Yeah, the internal spreadsheets, I really do think those are it's like the lifeblood. I mean, if the beer is the lifeblood, then the spreadsheets might be like the kidney.
Sure.
Trying to follow that analogy.
Wow. I love it. Well, I'm speaking with two very intelligent scientists here, so you guys know exactly what you're doing, and you even talked about like beer is science too. I'd love for you to just share a little bit more about that with our viewers that don't know as much about
it. And like I said after that science is art, right? We tend to talk about craft beer as being part science, part art, but really it's hard to know when you're thinking with one hemisphere or the other.
Yeah. And when Bobby was getting his PhD in astrophysics, he realized that, and he brewed beer as a hobby, he realized that there was just as much science in beer as there was in working with NASA. And so when it was interesting when you told our families that you were thinking about leaving physics and going into beer, everyone was like, well, you can't leave science behind, and it's so far from the truth. I mean, we do science every day.
I've been validated time and again on the fact that I moved from science to what ultimately was science. But in the beginning, I thought I was just taking a hobby to 11 for the fun of it, and I was kind of ashamed of that. And so it was good to find that there's a lot of challenges in the industry to be sorted out from the science side.
Very interesting. I know when kids say like, oh, I'm never going to use science. Oh, I'm never going to use math. You're like, oh, you just wait, right? Hear that a lot. So my next question for you is, what does the future look like for McFleshman's, and do you have an exit plan?
Right straight off the bat, our exit strategy is to become employee owned. I think everybody should own the bricks in the wall. I think that makes for a better product and better morale and a more sustainable future for sure. That's my exit strategy.
Yeah.
You don't put a name on the building expecting Budweiser to come buy you out. You know what I mean? Some person's name. So that was never really our strategy. I always wanted to keep it in the community and then have it be whoever's would put their heart into it.
Yeah, and I think that in terms of our growth, it depends on what the community needs. If Appleton continues to show us the love and support, I mean, of course they'll continue to show us the love and support, but such that we need to double in size or triple in size, we'll do that. But I'm guessing that we're probably going to reach that moment to where we can just coast and meet the demand that and be the space that the community needs, and that's what we're going to aim to do. So that's kind of going to dictate how big we're going to get.
Absolutely. And you said you're in 35 counties right now?
Yeah, and we don't go deep in any of those. You know, we're a small brewery, and so we are shallow, but we're broad out there. We go to those places that really want our beer, that really respect it.
Very neat. Yeah, and like you were explaining before, the beers, that the English style beers, that's something that's different, so that not everybody necessarily is seeking that. So really cool that you found your niche. My final question for both of you is, all subjects open, what inspires you most?
Oh, goodness. People. I think that the community that has embraced us, it's really hard. I'm actually looking at John's cane right now. What inspires at least me to keep going every morning, I mean, it's an 80 to 90 hour work week. And I have another full-time job on top of this. But what keeps me going is just the friendships and the community that I see forming in front of my eyes, to the point that we, unfortunately, a few weeks ago, we had an Irish wake here in the tap room in which a patron passed away from an illness. And we hung his cane on the wall, and we really kind of cementing this public space that is a place where, you know, people are celebrated and remembered, but also new friendships are formed. And so that just seeing those friendships form and flourish it continues to just inspire me.
Yeah, we're starting to stack memories on the wall for sure.
Yeah.
For me, it's my daughter. That's a cop-out answer.
But, that's a good one.
But we like to say that she's the only actual McFleshman because our names are
McCoy and Fleshman
combined. So yeah, but mainly because of her and how kids are always inspiring, but because of the community, the family that is around her. They really are raising her. It's humbling.
It's very Wisconsin. She's growing up in a brewery.
Totally Wisconsin, right?
Yeah.
She's 4 years old and she helps us clean. She helps us stock the cooler.
Everybody knows her. Yeah, it's great.
And so there's just life lessons and understanding that, you know, the brewery takes work, but it also has fun.
Yeah, absolutely. That's so beautiful. Thank you both for taking the time out to share your business with me. Now, if somebody wants to go enjoy some of your beer or come to the public house or up in the Prohibition Room or the beer garden, what's the best way for them to find out more information?
It's a great question. You can go to our website, McFleshman's.com. They can also follow us on Instagram or Facebook. And if they want to reach out directly to us on our website, there's a link, info@McFleshman's.com. You can send an email that'll go to Elise Lincoln, who's our business manager. And we see her every day and she's always talking to us. And so not an email comes through that we don't hear about.
Awesome. Well, thank you.
If they want to buy our beer, all they have to do is ask for it. We're on the lakeshore and south of Appleton. Just ask the restaurant, bar, grocery store, whatever.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Thank you both for your time today. You have a wonderful, wonderful day. Happy post St. Patrick's Day. Hopefully you get a little bit of recovery and into a wonderful, beautiful season.
Awesome. Stacie, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you.